Yeah, it's a little bit awkward that Robyn's here. Of course, we're not on the best of terms. Huh. My desire and intention and has always been to have a good relationship with Christine. That's what I'm putting forward. Because these relationships do need to get mended.
We've had such a struggle with this. I'd almost rather just take some time to get in a better place with you.
All right, Christine Brown Willie's book. Let's talk about it. It's been 2 days since I've read it, and I have reread almost most of the book at this point, trying to dissect my thoughts. We've been going through some videos of some of the key points, some highlights, doing an overall review. And now I just want to go into a little bit of critical view here. Not to pile on Christine, but I do think there's going to be aspects of this book that may cause some viewers to be a little bit upset. I think there's going to be deception exposed of the show where you really do learn that they've lied about everything for so many years. I think you're going to learn about Christine and some of the MLM stuff that she promotes and how that doesn't align to what she says in the book and how she uses specific medications in lieu of, natural supplements like she sells. And most importantly, I think if you care about polygamy, I guess, and you care that it's a harm to women and children, and if you care that this family you believed was on there to promote polygamy and show you a better way, I think you'll be angry to know that the family knew the entire time they were filming that their church, the Apostolic United Brethren, was just as bad as the FLDS. And despite their proclamations over and over and over again that their church was not like that, it was, it is, and it still is. And Christine vacillates between having very positive memories of her childhood, but also has conflicting views about she was born in a cult, she raised her children in the cult, but then unable to really critically analyze any mistakes that she made. She speaks and writes a lot about how this culture and this faith makes people narcissistic, and she even taps into her own levels of narcissism in this book. And she went through a lot of trauma with Kody, 100%. She lied a lot on the show. And obviously, it's my understanding that if she didn't lie, life was going to be hell for her off camera. Kody would withdraw his affection. He would not spend time with her children. He would abandon her. I think there's a level of cognitive dissonance with her where she had to stay in a bubble of denial. And I think to this day, there's still a lot of denial here because she admits that the show has caused a lot of harm to the family. She admits that none of her kids want to be on the show anymore, truly doesn't want to be on the show. And even at the end, in the epilogue, she says she's ready to be done with the show. In fact, she says she doesn't even know why they're still making this show, why they're still even filming, because the show was over. She truly believed that when she left Kody, she would be leaving the show. And that's not what has happened because of her contract. And she goes into Kody was controlling, but Kody wasn't controlling. But at the end of the book, it sounds very much like she's leaving. For instance, she said, ultimately, I think the show helped our family. We all developed voices and learned to speak out. We learned to look back and think about all of it rather than simply struggling through the day-to-day with no context. Sometimes I watch something now and I think, whoa, that was crazy, and that helps me process. I think Sister Wives has been a realistic representation of us. She says that after admitting to lying on camera a lot. So it's a little, you'll read the book and you'll be like, was it a realistic representation if what you were doing was lying? Or is it just lying within the family a realistic representation of you? You know what I mean? And it's shown me at my best and my worst. You've seen me jealous, insecure, and sad, but have also seen me happy and excited, motivated, and mediating. The crew has been wonderful. And when we left the hospital with Truly after she was born, one of the crew members rode with us. I think They think of themselves as her uncles because they watched her grow up. We've watched them too as they've gone from young people to married people to people with kids. They've always done what they could to make our experience as positive as possible, even on those bad days. But my kids are ready to be done with the show. She quotes Aspen as saying, "You know what? I think I've lived your life long enough. I want to live my own life now." Fair. Truly doesn't want to be on the show anymore. She said she was on the set once after I left Kody, and I thought, we're not doing this. She's still in the background and part of activities, but she hasn't been on the show set since. I don't need her to know about the show or all of our stuff. I've never let her watch it, especially the last few years. Most of the other kids don't watch it either. I admit that I was surprised when we learned that there would be another season. How can there be anything after all that? I thought, what are they going to film? It would have been incredible simply to live my life with David. Instead, I'm working with producers on storylines. Maybe the starting over is the story, the hopeful bit. So much of my life now is figuring out retirement, taking care of our vacation rental, and looking for another one, and spending time with grandkids. Janelle and I still do things together, and we'll film that. She has her flower farm, which feels like a dream come true. I have loved doing the show. I loved it being a part of our life. I love all the opportunities we had, but most of all, I love the change that has come for me as a person. I love who I am today. That came from the show and living polygamy and all the people I've met along the way. The book starts in the beginning of season 19, and now they're going to be doing season 20. And for her, it sounds like it's done after the end of the season. And she says she doesn't want to talk about Kody anymore. She's done going to the past. She wants to move forward with her life, and that constantly revisiting what she did and what happened with Kody has been very painful for her. And that this book was like a way for her to close the chapter altogether by sharing what she was comfortable with sharing and putting sort of that end exclamation point on it so that it was all tied up. So if there's anything beyond season 20, I will be very surprised. And I would be very surprised if Christine continues, if there is more after season 20. Because why would you want to continue to be on a show with your ex-husband that you don't like? So what I want, I think something that might get overlooked because it's a very small part of her book, but it's a really impactful part of the book, and it's surrounding her leaving Kody. And she shares that she had to sit down and tell their producer that she was leaving. And when they found this producer, his name is Tim Gibbons, he approached them in 2009 or 8 about a show, believing that polygamists were being denied civil rights. It was a civil rights issue. And civil rights does generally not include polygamy. Civil rights is generally related to issues of race and gender and ethnicity and sexuality, but practicing polygamy and trafficking and labor trafficking of women and sex trafficking under the guise of religion is not a fundamental